What happens when a prank goes terribly, terribly wrong? Maybe you will slip, maybe you will cry, or maybe, just maybe, if it goes so terribly bad, you might go crack and say bye-bye. Today, we are looking at the most dangerous and the most horrible pranks that ended in death. Oh, you think I'm joking about that? Why don't you smash like on today's video to find out? Because I heard that if you don't smash like on today's video, you might end up like one of these pranksters in today's vid. Family, I promise you, that is not a place you want to be. Because these pranks get crazy. And like I said, very, very deadly. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe. Prank number 1.
On December 21st, 2013, a drunken argument in Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma turned into one of the most bizarre deaths ever recorded.
But wait a second, how is an argument a prank? Was he pranking him by pretending to hate him? Pranking him by pretending to scream? Or was the prank pretending to be sleeping on that very cold and shiny metallic hospital bed? That don't look fun.
Denver St. Clair, a 58-year-old man, had been drinking with his stepson, 33-year-old Brad Lee Davis.
Apple
the
juice,
two had
I
a
hope.
complicated relationship marked by years of tension and resentment. That night, their conflict escalated. Davis grabbed his stepfather's underwear from behind. What started as a humiliating prank quickly became something far worse.
Oh no.
He pulled the elastic waistband upward with violent force, stretching it over St. Clair's head and down around his neck.
No! Not the atomic wedgie! I would be so mad at whoever did that to me, but I will say, yes, that dude just got wedgied, but he also just got a free hat. Puppy Nuggy, the brand new plushie available at ShopAlexia.com. Family, Puppy Nuggy is here for a very limited time only. And once he sells out, he is selling out forever. We will never bring him back. We also have Chili Nuggy, Saucy Nuggy, and Baby Nuggy available for a limited time too. Saucy Nuggy is already almost completely sold out, so go to ShopAlexia.com right now so you don't miss out. Don't say I didn't tell you so.
This was what teenagers call an atomic wedgie, a schoolyard joke taken to its extreme limit. But Davis didn't stop pulling. The elastic band tightened around St. Clair's throat. What had been an act of anger and humiliation transformed into strangulation. St. Clair couldn't breathe. He clawed at the fabric, digging into his neck, but the elastic was too tight, too deeply embedded in his skin. His airway closed. The medical examiner later confirmed that death took several minutes. St. Clair remained conscious as oxygen stopped reaching his brain.
Several minutes with a wedgie stuck around your neck? At that point, that's not a necklace. That is a dog collar made out of boxers. Gross.
Face turned red, then purple. Petechial hemorrhaging appeared in his eyes, tiny
He's
blood
blue!
vessels bursting from the pressure. He fought for air that wouldn't come. Davis stood watching as his stepfather suffocated. By the time he realized what he had done, it was too late. The underwear had become a ligature, cutting off blood flow to the brain and compressing the windpipe. St. Clair collapsed to the floor. When police arrived, they found the body still wearing the underwear wrapped around the neck.
Yes, hello? Police? My stepfather is not breathing! Oh, and it definitely wasn't because of Mimi. It's clearly his boxies that apparently he bought 3 sizes too small. Seriously, stepdad, why are you wearing an XXX small boxer when you're eating XX extra hamburgers? Obviously, it's gonna get too tight.
The elastic waistband had left deep marks in the skin that matched the pattern perfectly.
Oh, he's
the autopsy
busted.
listed cause of death as asphyxiation by ligature strangulation. The weapon was a pair of underwear. Davis was arrested and later convicted of first-degree manslaughter.
Whoa, that ended in tragedy, but also a prank, but also a joke, but that's not a funny joke because it ended in such a terrible something. I need you all to comment down below right now what you rate that prank. Is it a 1 out of 10 because it's mean? Is it a 6 out of 10 because it's a little bit funny? Or is it a 10 out of 10 because y'all are kind of evil, just like the guy who did the wedgie? Oh no. And make sure you watch to the end of today's video because we have so many more crazy pranks that we have to rate. Prank number 2.
On August 26, 2012, Randy Tenley stood in the middle of U.S. Highway 93 near Kalispell, Montana.
Well,
It was
why is
after
he doing
dark.
that?
The 44-year-old wore a full military-style ghillie suit, a camouflage outfit covered in shaggy strips of fabric designed to make a person invisible in natural surroundings.
Excuse me, sir. It don't matter how invisible you think you are. If you're in the middle of the road, your body is gonna have to get towed. Because you're about to get hit by a car.
His plan was simple. He wanted to create a Bigfoot sighting to scare passing drivers and hopefully make the local news. His friends waited on the shoulder of the road, watching as Tenley positioned himself in the traffic lane. Cars approached in the darkness. The ghillie suit worked exactly as designed.
What?
Against the black pavement and night sky, Tenley was nearly impossible to see. He looked like a shadow, a vague shape that didn't register as human until it was too late. The first car came fast. The driver never saw him. There were no brake lights, no swerving, no attempt to stop. The vehicle struck Tenley at highway speed, throwing his body several feet down the road. The impact broke bones and caused severe trauma, but it wasn't immediately fatal. He lay on the pavement, injured and unable to move. Seconds later, a second car approached. The driver had no warning, no time to react. The headlights illuminated Tenley's body only at the last moment. The car ran over him. This impact finished what the first had started. The crushing force caused massive internal injuries. His chest cavity collapsed. Organs ruptured. Death came quickly after the second strike. His friends ran from the roadside, screaming for help. When police arrived, they explained the Bigfoot hoax. Investigators found no skid marks from either vehicle. Both drivers never saw what they hit until impact. The ghillie suit had worked too well. Tenley died invisible on a dark Montana highway, killed by his own successful disguise.
Wait a second. So does that mean his experiment was successful or not? Because yes, he looked like a tree, so nobody saw him. But that's also the reason why he got absolutely crushed under that very beautiful night sky. Come on, family, comment down below right now what you rate this prank out of 10. Is it a 9 out of 10 because his costume worked so good? Or a 2 out of 10? Seriously, bro, what were you expecting to happen? Prank number 3.
On January 19th, 2020, 6 teenagers drove through a quiet neighborhood in Corona, California. They had just pulled off a classic prank, ringing the doorbell at Anurag Chandra's home and running back to their car.
Ding dong ditch! I know this prank. This is where you go up to somebody's house, ring the doorbell, and then run away super fast before the person in the house answers the door.
It was ding dong ditch, harmless fun that teenagers had been doing for generations. Among them were Daniel Hawkins, Jacob Ivoscu, and Drake Ruiz. But Chandra didn't see it as harmless. He was enraged. Within seconds, he got into his car and began chasing them. What started as a prank became a high-speed pursuit through residential streets. Chandra accelerated to 99 miles per hour, weaving between parked cars and through intersections. The teenagers tried to escape, their driver pushing the car faster, but Chandra stayed close behind.
Wait, this dude is so angry that he just missed his favorite part of his TV show. He said, "You made me pause Netflix for this?" Oh no. You teenagers aren't gonna get away with this! And I'll make sure.
The chase lasted several minutes. Chandra pulled alongside the teens' vehicle. He didn't just follow them. He deliberately rammed their car with his own. The impact forced them off the road. At that speed, the driver had no chance to regain control. The car veered sharply, left the pavement, and slammed into a tree. The collision was brutal. The tree punched through the passenger compartment, metal crumpled inward. The 3 sitting in the back died instantly from the impact. Their bodies were thrown against seatbelts with enough force to cause fatal internal injuries. The tree had essentially cut through the vehicle's structure, crushing everything in its path. The other 3 teenagers survived with serious injuries. Chandra stopped at the scene and was arrested immediately. He was later charged with 3 counts of murder. A doorbell prank had ended in triple homicide. 3 families lost their sons because a grown man couldn't control his rage over a momentary annoyance. Chandra was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Whoa, that one's spooky. Should the kids have been ding-dong ditching the homes? No, probably not. But excuse me, Mr. Old Man in the house, should you be chasing 6 children down the street at full speed? Absolutely no-y. Like never, ever. Prank number 4.
In early December 2012, Jacinta Saldana was working her shift as a nurse at King Edward VII Hospital in London. The hospital was treating Kate Middleton, who was pregnant with her first child.
Wait, Kate Middleton, isn't that a name of a famous celebrity? Or a member of the royal family? Kate Middleton. Oh, it is! Wait, is that the same girl?
That morning, the phone rang at the nurse's station. On the other end were 2 Australian radio hosts pretending to be Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Charles. They asked for information about Kate's condition. Saldana believed the impersonation was real.
It
she
is the
transferred
same
the call to
girl.
another nurse who gave details about the royal patient's medical status. The entire conversation was recorded. Within hours, the radio station broadcast it internationally. The prank became global news. Saldana's voice was heard by millions of people around the world. The hospital launched an internal investigation. Media coverage intensified. Saldana felt crushing shame and guilt. She believed she had betrayed patient confidentiality, failed the royal family.
Yeah, she kind of did. She thought right.
And humiliated her hospital. The weight of public exposure became unbearable. She couldn't escape the knowledge that her mistake had been broadcast worldwide and replayed endlessly across news channels. Over the next few days, her mental state deteriorated rapidly. She wrote 3 notes expressing her guilt and shame. On December 7th, just days after the prank call, Saldana was found dead in her nursing accommodation. She had chosen to leave by hanging. Colleagues discovered her body. The news sparked international outrage. The radio station suspended both hosts indefinitely. Questions arose about whether a prank call could be considered responsible for someone's death. Legal experts debated culpability, but for Saldana's family, the cause was clear. A joke meant for entertainment had created such overwhelming shame that a dedicated nurse saw no way forward except to end her own life. The prank call had lasted minutes. Its consequences were permanent.
What do you think, family? If somebody pranks someone, does that mean you're responsible for what happens next? Because I'm sure that is not the ending that those 2 radio hosts wanted. But they did lie and try and make fun of the hospital. So, who really knows? All right, comment down below right now what you rate that prank out of 10. Because I am very curious what you think and which prank of today's video is going to be the worst. Prank number 5.
February 29th, 2020. A birthday party was underway in Moscow, Russia. The celebration was for Ekaterina Didenko, a social media influencer with a large following. Her husband, 32-year-old Valentin Didenko, was among the guests gathered around an indoor swimming pool.
Oh, no.
Someone had planned a visual spectacle to make the party memorable. They would dump dry ice into the pool to create a dramatic fog effect.
Pool parties are always dangerous. I don't care what you say. There's water, there's screaming and running kids, and there's always that one person who does not know how to swim. And here's a thought for you, buddy, who doesn't know how to swim. If you don't know how to swim in a pool, maybe don't go to the pool party. Just a suggestion, though.
Partygoers carried more than 60 pounds of dry ice to the pool's edge.
Dry ice.
They dumped it into the warm water all at once.
Dangerous.
The reaction was immediate and spectacular. Thick white fog erupted from the pool, rolling across the surface and spilling onto the deck. Guests cheered and laughed.
Dry ice is actually so dangerous. I've dealt with it before, and it gives off these fumes that are really bad to inhale. And if you inhale the fumes too much, then you start to cough, your lungs start to hurt. It's really, really dangerous. So yeah, why not fill a whole giant pool with dry ice? I'm sure this one's gonna end well.
Several people, including Valentin, jumped into the pool to swim through the fog. But dry ice is frozen carbon dioxide. When it sublimates in warm water, it releases massive amounts of CO2 gas. Carbon dioxide is heavier than air. It sinks and displaces oxygen. The gas was invisible, odorless, and filled the indoor space rapidly. The swimmers in the pool suddenly couldn't breathe. There was no smoke, no visible danger, just the absence of oxygen where air should have been. Valentin and 2 others lost consciousness almost immediately. Their bodies went limp in the water. Other guests tried to help but began collapsing themselves as they entered the gas cloud. Confusion spread through the room. People gasped for air that wasn't there. The decorative fog had become a suffocating blanket of carbon dioxide. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, but 3 people were already dead, including Valentin. Several others required hospitalization for asphyxiation. The autopsy confirmed carbon dioxide poisoning. Ekaterina had lost her husband at her own birthday party.
Whoa.
A prank meant to create beautiful photographs had displaced all the oxygen in the room and killed 3 people in minutes.
Wow. They really don't tell you that about dry ice. A lot of people don't know this either. When I was dealing with dry ice, I had no idea either. And I only figured this out after I started coughing myself. Oh my gosh, I could have went through the same thing. Oh, that makes it so scary. Family, rate this prank down below right now. 1 means bad, 10 means good. I want to know what you think. Prank number 6.
On June 6, 1892, Wilkins Rustin stood on a street in New Haven, Connecticut, surrounded by members of the Delta Kappa Epsilon fraternity at Yale University.
A frat. I'm sure this is going to end
Sophomore
well.
was undergoing initiation, a ritual that was common and largely unregulated in that era. His fraternity brothers had prepared a test. They tied a blindfold tightly around his eyes. He could see nothing. They instructed him to run at full speed down the city street. Other members would watch and laugh.
Are
Rustin
there going to be
had no
cars
choice but
there?
to trust them. He began running, relying
Bad
only
idea.
on sound and the feeling of pavement under his
Terrible
feet.
idea.
He sprinted blindly through the darkness,
Don't do it,
disoriented
bro.
and unable to judge distance or direction. His fraternity brothers watched from the sidewalk as he gained speed. A horse-drawn carriage sat stationary on the street ahead.
Wait. I'm sorry. This is not funny because I'm sure this ends in tragedy, but I was fully expecting a car to come down the road at full speed, honking. But what do we have? A horse and carriage buggy that you would expect to see in the 1950s. Wait, what? I'm so confused.
Rustin couldn't see it. He ran directly into the carriage at full force. A sharp wooden pole jutted from the vehicle's frame. The pole penetrated his abdomen. The impact drove it deep into his body, puncturing through his intestines and abdominal cavity. Rustin screamed. He was conscious, aware, impaled on the wooden shaft. His fraternity brothers rushed forward and removed the blindfold. They saw the pole extending through his body. He was taken immediately to medical care, but doctors in 1892 had limited ability to treat such injuries. The punctured intestines leaked bacteria into his abdominal cavity.
Oh my
Peritonitis
gosh.
developed, an infection spreading through his abdomen that 19th century medicine could not stop. Rustin endured 5 days of agony. Fever
5
consumed him.
days?
The pain intensified as sepsis spread through his system. His body slowly shut down from the infection. On June 11th, 1892, Wilkins Rustin died. A single moment of blindfolded running had resulted in a slow death by infection, all in the name of fraternity tradition.
Wait, that's actually insane. First of all, it's insane that he did an oof right there and then by getting that giant pole through his whole abdomen. And second of all, it's even crazier that he actually went oof from an infection. Infections are low-key very dangerous. And a lot of times when people go to the hospital with near-death injuries, they don't actually die from the injury itself, but they actually die from the infections caused by those injuries. That's crazy. Rate the prank down below in the comments, family. I need to know. Next prank. Prank number 7.
On October 14th, 1873, Mortimer Leggett stood with other pledges near a railroad trestle in
no,
Ithaca,
not
New
another
York. He was
frat!
pledging the Kappa Alpha Society at Cornell University.
Uh-oh.
The fraternity had chosen a location known for its danger.
Oh, great. On a train track. These stories always end well.
A narrow railroad bridge that crossed high above a deep gorge. It was night. Members
What's
of the
a
fraternity
gorge?
prepared their initiation ritual. They tied blindfolds around the eyes of each pledge, including Leggett. Complete darkness. The pledges were led onto the trestle and instructed to walk across. They could feel only the wooden railroad ties beneath their feet and empty space on either side. The bridge was narrow. One wrong step meant to fall into the gorge below. Balance became difficult without vision. Fraternity members stood watching as the blindfolded pledges moved forward slowly, disoriented and terrified. Leggett stepped carefully, trying to find solid ground with each footfall. His sense of direction failed him. He misjudged where the edge was.
No.
His foot missed the tie and met only air. His body tipped sideways. He fell over the edge of the trestle. The blindfold remained tied around his eyes as he dropped. He fell through darkness he couldn't see, not knowing what was below or how far he would fall. The descent lasted several seconds. He hit the rocks and water at the bottom of the gorge with massive force. The impact fractured his skull. His bones shattered. Internal organs ruptured from the collision. Death was instant. When they recovered his body from the gorge, the blindfold was still tied securely around his eyes. Mortimer Leggett had died without ever seeing what killed him. Cornell faced scrutiny over the incident, but hazing practices continued despite his death. A trust exercise designed to test courage had become an execution, and a young man fell to his death while his fraternity brothers watched from above.
I don't like that one. I don't like that one at all. I'm rating that prank a 1 out of 10. But what do you guys rate it? Oh, that one was probably the meanest one yet. Prank number 8.
On August 17th, 2011, 2 teenagers in rural Pickaway County, Ohio, decided to pull a prank on passing drivers. They took petroleum jelly and plastic wrap to a stop sign at a quiet intersection. They smeared the jelly thickly across the sign's surface.
Wait, I have a guess. I think that this petroleum jelly with the plastic wrap over the stop sign is gonna make the sign not visible to the drivers. So then instead of stopping at these stop signs, they're just gonna drive right through. Smash like if you agree.
And wrapped it in clear plastic. At night, the sign became completely invisible. Drivers would approach the intersection with no warning to stop.
No!
The teens wanted to watch the confusion as cars rolled through without stopping. That evening, 80-year-old Jean Shea was driving with her sister.
Not 80-year-old Jean Shea. Oh, I'm sorry, Jean Shea. Oh, I'm sorry, 80-year-old Jean Shea. Old people already can't see as it is. Now you're gonna plaster Vaseline all over her one stop signage? That's insane.
85-year-old Mary Spangler in the passenger seat. They
Not
were traveling on
85-year-old
familiar rural
Mary?
roads they had driven for years. As they approached the vandalized intersection,
no.
Shea saw nothing to indicate she should stop. The sign was there, but the petroleum jelly and plastic wrap made it impossible to see in the darkness. She drove through at normal speed. An SUV was approaching from the perpendicular road. That driver had the right of way. He saw Shea's car not stopping and tried to brake, but there wasn't enough time. The SUV struck the passenger side of the car at full speed. It was a T-bone collision. The impact crushed the passenger door inward. Metal crumpled directly into where Spangler sat. She absorbed the full force of the collision. At 85 years old, her body couldn't withstand the blunt trauma. Her ribs shattered. Internal organs were damaged beyond repair. She died instantly from the impact. Shea survived with injuries, but lost her sister. Police found the teenagers shortly after. The petroleum jelly was still smeared across the stop sign, evidence of what they had done. They were arrested and charged. A simple prank designed to cause momentary confusion had made a stop sign invisible and sent an elderly woman through an intersection to her death.
Oh no, was that a simple prank though? A prank is something funny, ha ha. Not something that might actually make somebody go to their death, though. Cause I don't know which prank is the worst out of all of these, cause all of them are so bad. Family, rate the last prank down below in the comments out of 10. Smash like on today's video, subscribe to AnythingAlexia, and go get Puppy Nuggy, Baby Nuggy, Sassy Nuggy, and back in stock Chili Nuggy at shopalexia.com. Me, Puppy Nuggy, and all the Nuggy Land characters love you so much, and we'll see you all in tomorrow's video.